Have you ever gone to a nice restaurant and you had a great meal, and then when everything's done, the waiter brings you the bill, and you notice that there is a charge for the salt and the seasoning used on your steak, or how many ounces of salad dressing were on your salad, or how much that olive in your martini cost, or how much the chef's apron was, the credit card transaction fees, how much they paid the dishwasher or the hostess? And the answer to that is, of course not, and it is absolutely ridiculous for you to do the same to your customers. So today, I'm going to tell you guys why I think giving super detailed estimates is a recipe for disaster for your business. And if you stay until the end, I'm going to give you 2 sneaky little tricks that you can do to avoid having your customers try to negotiate or counter any rebuttals they might have. But before we get into that, I did want to let you know that 𝐤𝑂𝑡𝑖𝑞 is giving away this Ford F-150 at the end of this month to a premium, platinum, or ultimate subscriber. So if you need a way to manage your business, send estimates, invoices, and get paid faster, check out the #1 CRM for home service industries. And we are also offering 50% off the first 3 months. So just head over to myquoteiq.com. Okay, so here's the thing. Whenever you buy something, there is a whole bunch of stuff going on behind the scenes that all come into play that help determine the price that you're going to pay. So just think about it. Just like you, they have overhead. Their business's overheads are different. But like, for an example, you've got a truck payment, accounting fees, fuel, expenses, insurance costs, general liability, workers' comp, you know it, equipment, bleach, and tons of other little things. These are the nuts and bolts that keep your business engine running. But those other companies, they don't put all these individual costs on their quotes or their invoices. Nope. They just use these costs to figure out what they need to charge you to actually make a profit. It's the behind the scenes magic that makes businesses tick. Okay. And guess what? All these individual costs, including transaction fees, are part of that magic. Instead of dragging you into the intricacies of business costs, business owners prefer just to do the smart thing, and that is to include these things in the overall price that they charge you, right? It keeps things simple for you, the customer, and for them, the business owner. You don't need to be bothered by these little costs that are just part of the process. Trust me, there is a reason why big businesses do this. They're not just passing the buck. They're making sure your experience is smooth and hassle-free, and that's what we all want to do for our customers. So I'm going to give you 3 reasons that complex estimates are not a great idea. And again, this is just my opinion, and I'm sure other people out there may disagree, but they're wrong and they just don't know it yet. So we all know if you have a business, you're going to have to try to sell something at some point. In this case, it's a service, and you're going to need to provide estimates as part of the sales process, which basically allow you and your potential customer the ability to gauge the cost and scope of a project, and then they can decide whether they want to proceed or not. But giving overly detailed estimates can sometimes do more harm than good, particularly when it comes to negotiations. So here are my 3 reasons why small businesses shouldn't get so detailed. And number 1 is it's just overwhelming. I've seen guys go insane with their estimates, providing the minute details of the service down to chemical ratios and application processes. And I know that you think that these are very important and they need to be thorough and provide value, but trust me, it is 100% not necessary. All you need to do is give a brief description of the service. If you're doing a house wash, say something like low pressure cleaning of the exterior of the property utilizing a soft wash system and eco-friendly detergents. Short, to the point, you convey what is happening and then you give them the price. Boom, it's done. Not underwhelming by any means, but certainly not overwhelming the customer with too much info either. It's like going to a mechanic or even a doctor. I'm going there for the end result. I don't care how they get there. I am just trusting that they're professional, and I hope that they know what they're doing. I don't need to know the process. I honestly just look at the price anyway, and I think that I'm probably not alone. And I do want to hear what you guys have to say about this, so please let me know what is more important to you as a customer. So down in the comment section, leave either price or process. And I would love to hear what you guys think. Okay, number 2 is these hyper detailed estimates can usher in time-consuming negotiations. Look, it is common sense that overly detailed estimates provide clients with more stuff to scrutinize and question, which of course can oftentimes and really does lead to unneeded negotiations and even unneeded conversations, because these negotiations and these conversations, they are time consuming oftentimes. And when you're running a lean business, every minute counts, and this can divert resources away from the actual work that needs to be done, the things that actually move the needle. And wasting time impacts your overall profitability. And look, I know that there are customers out there, I've dealt with it myself, who question how long a job takes, and then they want a discount because they don't think that the time spent justifies the cost that you're charging. So imagine if you decide to put labor hours on an estimate, and then it takes less time. Well, there could be a number of reasons why it takes less time, but the customer is paying for the end result. not the time it takes. But if you start giving them ammunition to counter the price, like how many hours it's going to take, that's on you, which is why I think less is more. Same goes for giving quantity amounts or unit prices, square footage, and what your rate is on estimates. I think it's a bad idea because there is room for misinterpretation, and then that leads to negotiations. Okay, the last one is that detailed estimates with tons of line items and overly complex wording and information make it really difficult for you to try to upsell. And I just think it makes sense because it's harder to upsell additional services or features when that initial estimate is so overly detailed, because in their mind, right, they may hesitate to consider these upsells, feeling that they're being upsold unnecessarily on these services because you've done such a thorough and overly detailed job in explaining all this that they may be a little overwhelmed. And now they're thinking like, wait a minute, I'm not getting all that already, which is why I think a streamlined estimate encourages them to consider more options, consider those upsells, which is why the options estimate in 𝐵𝑄𝐀𝐖𝐀𝐘 is such a great selling tool. And it will increase your average ticket price and profit margins at every single job if you use it consistently, because I promise you it does work. Now, I guess I do also want to touch on one last thing because I get questions about it all the time, and that is about those transaction fees for online payments. Guys that are new to taking payments online aren't used to seeing these fees. And you know why? Because 99% of businesses just pass it along to the customer as part of the final price. There is absolutely no need to itemize it or put it on its own line item, right? It's part of the cost of the job, not a cost that you need to cover. The customer does. There are fees associated with every transaction that's made, and you were just unaware of them before, and your customer should be as well. So now I'm going to tell you the two little tricks that I use to help eliminate potential objections as a result of an overly detailed estimate. Now, the first is something that we built in a 𝐵𝑄𝐀𝐼Q. That is, we don't display the units on estimates. We did this to protect new business owners from themselves. Your pricing can be set up in a number of ways within the app that you see. You've got full visibility, linear footage, square footage, flat rate, using any price or quantity that you want. But this is just on your end, okay, for pricing and quoting. It isn't visible to the customers because they will try to use it to beat you up on price, or at least another point of contention when they're trying to negotiate. And if your CRM does have that on there, then they're exposing you, right? They're making it a lot easier for your competition to take your customers away, for you to lose those jobs. And you just don't want to do it. You never want to show your hand. Give them enough info, but not all the info. And that's why we did that. Okay, the second one is something that I do, and I highly encourage you to do when generating estimates, and that's to know your numbers, know your market, and know what you need to make in order to be profitable. Have your finger on the pulse of your business because data drives decisions, and then come up with your price. But then, this is the trick, add 5% or even 10% to that estimate and push send. This does two things. If you underbid something, then it helps recoup your mistake, right? And if you didn't make a mistake, you just made more money for doing nothing more than listening to me, so you're welcome. So that is it for today's video. Transparency and clarity are crucial when you're giving estimates, but it's equally important to strike a nice balance between providing enough info and avoiding overly detailed estimates that can lead to unneeded questions and negotiations. Finding the right level of detail allows you to maintain control over this process, adapt to changing circumstances, and of course, focus on delivering high quality service to your customers, because that's what we all want. And don't forget to check out 𝐵𝑄𝐀𝐼Q. We are giving away the Ford F-150 at the end of this month, and we are also giving 50% off for the first 3 months at myquoteiq.com. So go over there, check it out. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day.